All right, so we are here to listen to the work of Luleka Mhlanzi, who is the founder of LM Arts NPC and author of Confiscated Identity. She's a multi-award-winning South African performance poet, actress, and programs facilitator from Pietermaritzburg. She's an agent for change, and her footprint is spotted in various African youth leadership programs. She produced Conversing Kingdoms, one woman poetry show in 2023, and has read and performed at national and international festivals. In her work, she examines identity, challenges beauty standards, and speaks for vulnerable groups. Mhlanzi was recently appointed as the South African ambassador for the Slam Awards International from Mali. She believes in the development of communities from grassroots level. Her organization, LM Arts, offers young aspiring performers and writers a free platform to explore themselves via the arts and literature. We are thrilled to have you here with us. Take it away.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much. Greetings, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. I hope I make it special for all of us. So I am everything that Melissa says and more. So I will start with an affirmation that I do in isiZulu, which is also how I explore my lineage. Okuyoba njalo impela. Sengiyabona manje. Ngaleli elisesiphongweni. Lawa ankante umbombo kawaboni. Sengifikile. Ngingunkosi Phendulile advice for. Emhlabeni ngingululeka precious Mhlanzi. Ujamba kabayini. Unzuzwayo. Unodela baba. Owangena nesikhuni emanzini esivutha waphuma naso ngaphesheya sesivutha kakhulu. Umhlanzi wendlu enkulu. Owahlanza indlu enkulu komathini. Ngicela nizazile. Angizazi mina izinto zenu nokuthakabela. Ngicela uma nihleli nami kuleli gumbi nithubela nilalela. Nikhumbule ngingumntwana nje ngiyazidwangozela. Ngicela ukuba ngasemantini, ngasemseni, ngasebuhleni benu, nina bazingeli, banqobi bezimpi ngamandla ephini, nalapho isitha silele imikhonto. Ngithobiseni, kepha ningangicindezeli. Thank you. So that was an introduction to myself and everything I have gathered and believe makes me me. Abonga. So I will read Wisdom of My Duty. I have a small table that I could only put this side so I could put my ring light in front of me. So please excuse the bending. So I'll read from Rage, Revolution, and Rapture, published by the UK's Press. I'm one of the authors that are published here. The title of the poem is called Wisdom of My Duty. It is for my little sister, Luleka. You are the wisdom of my duty, a button that holds my hand through. My mother's smile, expanded fully. A mischievous giggle, echoing like water dropping into an empty bottle. A repetitive pattern of your smile, an ancient ocean that dances only in dreams. Even the air has taken to note the pattern of your cosmic ripples that reflects the wonders of the sky's vastness. So colorful, you teacher to old rainbows, an open stream of fresh mist. I've seen death escape at the opening of your glittering eyes. You wonderful creature are the wisdom of my duty, a button that holds my hand truly. My mother's smile, expanded fully. Thank you. So my little sister is 12 years old. So I read from Rage, Revolution, and Rapture. The book was published in 2023, yes, if I'm not mistaken. So the next poem that I'm going to read is published on the New Coin South African Poetry Anthology that is published by the Rhodes University and English in Africa. I hope I'm putting that correct. So the poem is titled Fingernail, and it goes like this. I have been scratching my head, a familiar thirst to quench this itchy layer, digging my paws with a stare fixed at the mirror. The more I scratch, the more it itches. I have been here before, and I'm trying to trace my footprints so as not to follow them again. I cannot afford to find myself here again. My fingernails need their rest from all the graves they have dug so they could own the air. Thank you. So that was Fingernails. So I'm going to read from a couple of anthologies that I've had the privilege to be published in. But before I read from this one, let me share Beauty and the Food. So in my bio, Melissa read that I also zoom into beauty standards and the notions around what is perceived as beautiful. And having such a dark shade of color, I've grown up to experience colorism. And I have also been deemed ugly because of the way that I look. And the one thing that has always been spotted is the basis of my ugliness is basically my skin color. So, so growing up, this is the reason I was bullied a lot in high school, especially because I've always had such a loud personality. So every time I would just let myself be, there would just be that one person that would put me down using my physical appearance. And I might not even have the hourglass shaped body shape that is usually perceived as the one, which was also the one thing that they went for my body structure. That, oh, you look like this, you're built this way. It is as if God was thinking of this and that when God goes through. So even when I would be having like a simple argument, it would be the one thing to shut me down. But we basically you don't have a voice because you look like that. So this thing started building up, and I started to actually believe that I'm ugly and people don't want to see me. And then it started to change my behavior and the way that I saw and loved myself. So I believe otherwise than the way that I actually see myself for a long time. And I've been lucky to find myself in spaces that have allowed me to build myself, that have given me time to actually breathe and breathe in my life and then just look and choose what I would like to become. So with all that being said, I have a poem that I've written as the voice that is supposed to remind me who I am despite what I've done to believe over what people say. So the title of the poem is called Beauty and the Sea. Listen, I have not left. I'm here, sitting with all of your doubts, and I don't know what to do to them. They have gotten small since they got here. Perhaps they can't find themselves in my presence. I think it's a good thing. I've heard the conversations with them. In you, they have planted the belief that you are not enough and you grew with it, that you have not collected enough debris to help make you perfect. Listen, seize your eye from sinking into the mirror. You will not find me there. My beauty does not exist in the world of tangible mirrors. Those have a lazy tendency. They will not show you beauty. Your beauty, my beauty. Perhaps allow my infinite love to reintroduce you to the garden that you are, rich in the magic that fashions stars. You, the answer to your great grandmother's prayer, you are gold, a loud secret, a silent treasure. Creatures find their true essence in your colorful aura. Your halo spirals in raw diamonds. You are the impossible taste of ice cream to yearning taste buds. You are life and eternity. You give life eternally. How dare you forget? Thank you. So that was Beauty and the Sea. The voice that is inside of me. Some people call it God. Other people call it the voice of reason. Others call it different things. So I believe I wrote the poem as that voice, embodying that voice. Thank you. I'd like to read. There's a flu that is going on, and it has reminded us that actually nobody said COVID was over. What happened is that we were told to stop wearing masks, or masks weren't so illegal if you're not wearing it. But nobody said COVID is over. So I'm also a survivor of the current flu. So it also reminded me of the poem I wrote in 2021. I'm going to read it from Confiscated Identity, poems by Luleka and Mhlanzi. This is one of the things that make me so proud of myself. So dancing the pandemic away is a poem I wrote. Just excuse me, 41. I wrote it in 2021 when things were really hectic with the COVID outbreak. So here goes. Dancing is not always for joyous days. I've saved my feet for the blue face of the sky. My head has looked up at the rotting of the clouds. I clumsily caressed a hole that lost its fur with each trembling stroke. These clouds seem quite disgusted at my shedding courage. This weight is an insult to a heart that has hope and hope. I've learned how to hold lightning by the hand, to move with the tune of this and it is. I've stopped waiting for the music, and this is the first time I have truly danced at my burning breath. Thank you. So that was Dancing the Pandemic Away from my baby, Confiscated Identity. Okay. So in my journey, I've been in love I'm still also trying to inquire some more what it means to love yourself, to love the people that surround you, to not necessarily yearn for one type of love, which is the romantic love, which is the one type of love basically human beings just think of when you mention love. I'm also trying to explore the love that surrounds me, besides just the one kind that I'm also still trying to understand. So I've gone through a journey that involves being romantically in love, being committed in a marriage set up, having kids, and having to lose all of that because the vision becomes blurred over the years and the change of seasons and everything else that comes with um, the evolution of human beings and life in general. So um, I'm also going through a phase of grief, grieving that particular experiment and also trying to circle around parenthood, these things work in a relatively peaceful way. How do we regard the safety of the children? So those are the things that I explore because they're also they are quite relatable, English. So um, by this I mean that there's a lot of people like me that are going through similar situations, even just looking at the pressures of life. We find that even other friendships are experiencing breakups because people are just feeling pressured and they just don't want anything else to be added into that. So yes, I'm gonna look at the wedding objection, which is a poem that explores relationship politics. And please excuse my singing. Good luck to everybody that's gonna hear me sing. Confusion strikes, confusion strikes. I, this life is tough. Confusion strikes, confusion strikes. This life is tough. Confusion strikes, confusion strikes. This life is tough. Confusion strikes, confusion strikes. I, I cannot begin to imagine how glorious it must feel to be in the center of such a globe. What happened to us? You have always known when the sapphire of your eyes has pierced through my cloud. This is how you asked me to land my insecure feet on your marble floor. Taught me to trust you, to help me dance. I learned all of those tricks on how not to fall if it wasn't for you. For some time, I was certain there was something in the air. I can still feel the grip of your hand that held all promises of love ribboned with infinity. My breath knows the pace of your heartbeat, beat by beat. You know they were once parallel because of the many times you've raised my hairstrings and I had shown you where I hide my treasure. You remember when my lungs could only take your air because I had problems with trusting my solitude. You know, I would days time frame, a puzzled lightning confused with I'm scared to enlighten or frighten my God. But you know I've been trying to stop the hurricane raving inside my chest, and every time you pressed my spine on the cold wall and said new promises, I believed you. That's why I stopped breaking up with you, even when I knew that you had skeletons too. When I woke up today, I was hung over by the argument we had yesterday about how my beauty escapes me when the world needs it the most, when you need it, about how I speak so fondly of myself in Unite of Demons, about how there are stones in my body I can't replace with diamonds, about how there are seeds of self-hate society planted within me, about how they grew into very visible scars. You did not make it to my pity party. When I got there, I already drowned all my tears because I barely gave permission to my husband. You should have not strung and strummed yourself into my chest if you had no intention of making music for my forever. And I should have not looked into your mirror. Because then what you told me was lies. I object your wedding today, not because I want you now. I am not concerned about it. I know your God too well. I know what to expect with your crown. I'll put your health to rest for a couple of times and goodness. There's no idea. Confusion, strife, ah, ah, this life is tough. Confusion, strife, confusion, strife, ah, ah, ah. Thank you. I think I have 3 more poems. It feels so lonely, nobody's talking to me, but I know there's a Q&A and an open mic. So I will just go on and blab and go on. So now I'm gonna read from another anthology. I love this one because it's my most recent one. This is the So Black European Union Poetry Anthology Volume 12. I recently clapped for myself for this one because it's a new one. It was published last year, but I received it early this year. So there's 3 of my poems here. They are all in isiZulu, but there's also translations. So yeah, please read Indlala Ingukufa. It means hunger is death. I was listening to the State of the Nation address by our president, and he made an example about a person named Tintwalo, who is a born free. Tintwalo is a born free. So he was saying in the 30 years of freedom, there is a person named Tintwalo, I'm paraphrasing, who was born into the democracy. So Tintwalo experienced free healthcare. He says Tintwalo experienced free education, and Tintwalo has a job. has a job. So I'm also born free. There's a debate going around in the places that I step in about how we relate to the Tintwalo story and are you to Tintwalo? Do you know any Tintwalo quite close? And quite frankly, Tintwalo must have been a lucky guy. I'm not saying there aren't stories like that, but I'm a born free myself. I'm Luleka Mhlanzi. I'm definitely Luleka Mhlanzi. And if I were to take you through my journey, it doesn't sound as easy as Tintwalo's story. So I wrote a poem, Indlala Ingukufa, which means hunger is death. And this is not just me being creative. It is because I've experienced hunger. Kuba ngokuvuka nje, asesongene amathumbu. Kunempi ebukhosini basesitheni sami. Kubangwa umsoco ongafiki. Ufaka ngathi kanti ofana nami. ngaphambi kokuthola ukuphila okuphakade. Kuze kuyasha ePhalamende, ogombela kwesabo kuphela badla wona lamandla aphelayo, ngemimese nezimpoloko zakwaNokusho. Umdali kanti unakho ukubuka konakala. Osewutholile umbuso ungohlabeneyo, umbona ngokuzicebula kwabafana naye, kushintshe neso abona ngalo. Indlala lena ingumkhokha, olokhu ngizungeze njalo. Isebenze kuze kungamuke izandla, kwehle isithukuthuku zelekana, lutho ukuhlomula ngokuzothulisa lo msindo senkabeni yami. Ufaka ngakhi kanti ofana nami? Sengaze nginikele umoya wami ezimpisini pho, ukuze ngizizwe ngiphila isikhashana, ngihlonishwa isikhashana. Bake basingenisela amanzi endlini kodwa ontaba. Asazani, asibonani nje yibo. Umdali akamuntu ukuthi angaba nemizwa. Kungenjalo, ngabe ziyavuka izinteka, ngokushona kwelanga owakhe engadlile, ngokudleka kwamandla owakhe engahlomuli. Kusile kusasa. Yiso leso siyaxakeka futhi. So, I'd like to also quickly check on the time. How am I doing? Please somebody talk to me.
Yeah, you're fine. You can do your other two. It's all good. You're
Okay.
doing great.
Okay. Thank you so much, Melissa. I figured I needed to be cautious of the time. So can I please just read the translation for those who didn't understand? It was translated by Mama Innocentia Mhlanzi. So it is Hunger is Death. It goes like this. Just after waking up, the intestines are already entangled. There is a war in my royal stomach. The feud is about the nutrition that is yet to arrive. How many times does someone like me die before obtaining eternal life? The parliament is even burning down. The greedy eat the very resources that are getting finished with forks and knives of decadent luxury. God has a tendency to look on when things get messed up. Those who have power are victorious. You see them by peeling themselves off from those who they are related to and change even the manner they look at things. Hunger is a bad spirit, which is always lurking about. I work until I break my hand. Sweat fell heavily, but no reward to silence the sounds that are in my belly button. How many times does someone like me die? I have already given up my soul to hyenas so that I can feel myself living just a little bit and forget for a little while. Alas, these big people really put us through misery. We do not know and we do not see each other because of them. The Creator is not a person that he must have feelings. If he had, he would have felt the pain when the sun set and his people have not eaten, when the labor of his people is exploited. It will be another day tomorrow. It will be the same confusion again. Thank you. So, okay. So I will read Abelanga, which is one more from this, and then close with Closure, which is the poem that has been shared when we were promoting the Sweden. So can I please just only read the Zulu version of Abelanga, and then I'll move to Closure. Abelanga, still published also from the Soulplaki poetry anthology. Abelanga. Liso elibanzi kukho ukuzazi. Wena okhanya ngebala elifiphe. Uvela kuphela ngokumamatheka kwemisebe. Uwe umenzi uthukuse ukuqonda. Ubusuku lobu buyahlonishwa. Umhlaba lona yimpiko abadala. Ngiyakubona uma kukhanya. Ngikufuze ngangakushiya. Nami ngiyakhanya. uma wena ukhanya. Nginecwecwe ngentuthuko yabelumbi egqugquzela ukuthi sivilaphe ukuphefumula. Izizonde sizigxeke njalo. Baveza elomhlathi nje abahleki. Zingqavula lezi zomele igazi lethu. Obaninile sivika. Ngibambe siphinde sicele. Lisikhumbule nelakusasa ilanga. Phela silapha nje sizelwe yilo. So thank you. That was Abelanga by Luleka Mhlanzi, also published in the Soul Black Day. So my final piece, I wanted to share also with you guys that what has lifted my mood up is that my firstborn son made me this heart today. So I thought it was so sweet. I put it next to my table where I prepared everything for this life. Anyway, my last poem begins in isiZulu and ends in English. It is written in two voices. It is titled Closure. So the isiZulu part is, you remember I did speak about my journey and how I'm grieving the loss of a particular love experience. This is this is the poem that I believe brings closure. So the first voice is the voice of an elder that is speaking to the love, not to a person or to a human being, to the love, because the elder is just confused of what happened, why did these two human beings destroy such a beautiful thing. And then the second voice, which is the version in English, which was also shared online, is basically the feminine voice speaking to the masculine one, and the commotion that went around. Yeah, I don't have enough English to explain this. So it goes. Washiya usuzitshale kangaka, wakhula wadlulela nakwezinye izigaba. Sonhlamvikazi, mhlaba ophila ngamanzi, lwandle olugubha wona umoya, mhlabene uqamba olwakho ulimi, wawuthi uzosalihunyishwa ngubani ushiye ungafundisile. Buka manje, ukhula nokhula. Impela ukukhula uyakhula, kepha sewunjena manje. Bathe umuthi wena ukhanga, unika ithemba kwabaphukelwe izinhliziyo. Ungumuthi obewuhlezi uthelile, bewubukela udlontobele impela. Bakubona-ke abanamehlo. Wakhiwa itulo ngezifungo zokufa kwakho, wazamukela. Wabanika amandla abangenawo, basina bazibethela, yagwaza ukhakhayi. Diya dinsi, saka ubuthongo. Omunye-ke umhlaba lona uvuka kuwo, ligaya ngakwesokunene umhlaba. Izinyoni lapha kaziyesabi imvula. Zindiza lidliva, kubasa emanzini, sitheza khona lapha emkhathini. Kuseduze noma kukude, kukwafika khona manje. Uhambe kusasa mawuthanda, uzokwejwayela, zize usekhaya. You threw my name on a dirty floor with the phrase, you disgust me. Not a single thought that I could possibly be the water that should cleanse your sins. Now a birth of a placenta, a whole lineage at risk of drowning. You let our crystal memories swim in your spit. Sweet words have turned sour. Not even a fly can kiss them now. You still continue, in my invisibility that I have built around you, to look no further than the room, filled with the love we both left. You find my lonely shadow there, still hopeful that the square has become more a circle now. smooth and honest. It revolves, it returns. No. The corners are as sharp as they have been, competitive. Which one is sharper and effective in these times than the other? We forgot to pack our whole lineages from each other. And I've been longing for the awakening of this day. I have come back to collect myself from you, from the umbilical of your feminine, so I may fully return home. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful experience reading for you, although it felt a little lonely. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope I did not have too much time.
No, you were perfect. You were not alone. We were all here listening. Do we want to unmute and clap? Thank you. There we go. Thank you so much. That was such a journey. I love the joy you
Thank
bring
you.
to so many of your pieces. It made me smile repeatedly.
I appreciate that.
So we've got some time for questions. I can maybe start us off, and then anyone who's got a question, you can raise your hand on Zoom, or you can just like wave wildly, or if you're shy, you can also just type it in the chat and we'll ask. Yeah, my question is relating to the joy. I think it feels like you are almost purposefully going towards joy in a lot of your poems, or the things you're exploring in your poems. And I'm curious of whether that is purposeful, that you choose to. I mean, obviously you have some poems about less joyful things as well, but I really felt the joy coming through in a lot of your pieces, and even like your beauty one, where you're writing yourself towards that joy. It was really beautiful, and I think we often think of poetry as tragic and depressing and sad, and so it was so refreshing to see someone who just lights up when they're sharing. So yeah, if you want to speak on that.
For me to reach the person that is ready to look at herself with a soft eye, if I may put it like that, I had to reach my boiling point. Obviously, with the burdens of life and other challenges you attain when you're still figuring yourself around puberty, everything piling up had to reach a point where I was, can I please say trigger warning, where I was suicidal. It was a matter of nature just saying no because I was ready to go. So I can just safely put it like that. So when I came back from the failed attempt, I had to sit down with myself because when I was sending myself where I was sending myself, I was ready. I had considered everything and I was sure I wanted to do this. So when that failed, because everything around me was just against it, when that failed, I had to sit down with myself and say, now what? What are we coming back to do? Because we had already made the conclusion that this is done. So now we see that it's not. Now what? So it was a deliberate search. It was internal, and unfortunately, it's an ugly one. That I can't lie and say I'm over the bridge. I'm still walking and patiently on the bridge. But what I appreciate is the awareness of things now and the awareness of myself and how I try to tackle challenges to still save myself first and then go out there to save everybody else, because I do believe in selflessness as well. It's just that when I was growing up experiencing what I was experiencing, I was giving myself off and I was getting so much less. So I reached a depleting stage or a stage where I felt like I was depleted. Yeah, I think I can put it like that. So coming back was deliberate. Okay, Now let's figure out who we are. So we had to first look at the ugly things, which seemed to be the many things, which are the things that have set me to such a dark state. So we first had to look at them and where they come from. Why am I crying in this point of my life? Why is this like that? And you find that some things are not all bad. Sometimes you're really just also ending a bad day over everything else. And you're also, when you're in a bad space, you also attract bad energy because you find yourself even crying for things that you've made peace about over the years. And it just goes on and on and on. So it was mainly just trying to become aware of my thoughts, of the things that I say, especially to myself, because sometimes we are very generous with words of kindness towards other people, and we are the first person to not forgive and to just give a backlash to most of us not forgive because we feel like we need to be perfect, we need to do better. So yeah, this is where we had to dig all of this joy and beauty from.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for such an honest answer. And I think it makes the joy even more powerful, or mean even more to know that it's come from that. Does anyone else have a question or comment? Do you want to there we go. Mercury.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Hi.
All right.
How's everyone doing? Luleka, thank you so much for reading for us. I think it's important for us to appreciate the artistry that you bring also as an individual and also as one that is brave enough. A lot of us Australians love to actually celebrate you and celebrate the work that you have done and the work that you continue to do. As someone that has followed your journey and is part of the work that you continue to do, I'm very much honored to be in the space where I get to hear you recite poetry, read, because literature is very important. So for that, I really want to say congratulations on the journey. And thank you so much to the Wheelbarrow Poetry Collective for this wonderful space. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mercury. That is such a heartwarming message you have for me. And thank you for staying through. Thank you.
Thank you, Mercury. We hope you'll join us again here.
Mm.
Anyone else with a question or comment? Jacques.
I'm not sure if I'm audible or and visible because I've had trouble with my sound.
You are. I can see and
Yeah.
hear you.
Ah, fantastic. Luleka, it's so wonderful to hear your voice and
Thank you.
wonderful to have you in the room. I was very moved by the way you sang. But there was something that's going to be hard to describe, but there's something very fiery, kind of outgoing in the way you sang, but there's also something very inward about it. And
Mm.
wow, I was very moved by that, and I wondered who some of the singers are that you love the best.
That's an interesting one. And thank you. I appreciate also getting to see and hear your voice. That's the email. I listen to jazz the most, actually, instruments.
I believe
So
that.
I appreciate music by Sayela, may his soul rest in peace. Usima Shasela, Jonas Brown, may his soul rest in peace. I do listen to Miriam Makeba. Like old music mostly.
Yes.
And I do listen to a lot of reggae.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes any sense or whether you are finding any connection with the way that I sing and but yeah, I think if I'm going for other genres, because the genre that I'm speaking of is just my go-to genre, I would be listening to Jota. I'm not sure if you know Jota. Yeah, I can't remember all of them in my head, but yeah, that kind of music.
I've it's very, I mean, I love the poems, and I could ask about that, but I was struck by your voice when you sang.
Mm, thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks, Jacques. Well, that's all of us in the room. I wonder, do you want to tell us, and maybe so that people who go back and watch recordings as well, and where we can find your book, if there's still copies available of that little baby that you're so proud of, which is a very awesome title. I love it. And also like where
Okay,
people can find you and so on and so forth and support you.
all right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, with sometimes in your journey of artistry or as an author, you become your own everything, you know. So some of the pressures come from that, and with Confiscated Identity, it's a self-published anthology where I'm basically the author, my own distributor, and so forth. So unfortunately, the bookshop that was selling my book, which is here in KZN, both in Pietermaritzburg and Durban, closed down after meeting. So I lost that. I have one bookshop in Durban. It's Ike's Bookshop, where you find the Confiscated Identity. Otherwise, you email Mhlanzi@gmail.com, and I deliver to your door through courier. Yeah, through courier. So that is how you get my book, through my number, 07820 That is my working number. But besides the Confiscated Identity, which is the self-published anthology with all of my poems there. The other anthologies that I've been reading that have been published by the Jacana Media, the 12 Lucky, you can definitely reach that one nationwide. It's in all libraries, all bookshops, even on the Jacana Media website. And New Coin, we get the same for New Coin. I know they also put them in archives with the Rage Revolution and Rapture one that I read from the Ukrainian press. I heard that was also been sent to archives, but I'm sure if you want it, you can request and you can buy it from Ukrainian press. And I'm sure in all other libraries and bookshops, basically, if you just remember the titles that I've been saying of the book, or you can ask for works by Luleka Mhlanzi. But I think the best way to reach me directly is to DM me on my social media accounts. Luleka Mhlanzi on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So if you send a DM, I regard my social media accounts as more business than pleasure. So I take those DMs as emails. So yeah, that is where you reach me.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Shall we do one more clap and then I'll stop recording?
Thank you.